I signed up for a 48-hour game jam, knowing I'd only get a slice of that time to actually build something. This game was made in about a day and a bit, not because the jam was short, but because most of the weekend was already gone before I even started. So this is a story about what happens when real life refuses to move and you have to decide very quickly what's worth keeping in your game and what you're willing to let go. In way less time than I was supposed to have. On paper, that sounds kinda stupid. But it actually made a lot of sense in my head. The last few days have been stacked. Mornings and days at my job and then studies on top of that. And then trying to keep up with my own projects whenever there's a gap. And I noticed something. I wasn't really making anything for myself anymore. Most of my time has been spent thinking, planning, helping others or doing assignments. And of course that's useful stuff, but not the kind of building that got me into game dev at first. So when I saw this jam, it hit that part of my brain that said, you need this. The format was simple, 48 hours to make a game from scratch. I've done that once before and it was intense but fun. The problem this time was my weekend was already split in half, which meant big chunks of Saturday and Sunday were already gone before I even started. So this wasn't a 48-hour game jam for me, it was more like 25 or 30 hours. If I was lucky. In a normal jam, you have a bit more room to explore. Try a weird idea, throw away, pivot, and then keep experimenting. Here, if I wasted half a day on the wrong thing, there wouldn't be a game at the end. So before I even opened Unity, I already knew a few things. I wouldn't have time for a big scope, I wouldn't have time to restart halfway, and I definitely wouldn't have time to figure it out as I go. Every decision, ideas, features, art, everything had to push the game forward, or it was just dead time. I went into this jam with two goals. One, actually finish something, even if it's tiny. And two, use the time pressure as a way to force myself to focus. Once I realized I had 30 hours instead of 48 hours, it hit me that this was something more than making a game. It was something that I kept bumping into in my life. How dangerous it is to think that you have a lot of time. There's this quote you probably heard before. Work expands to fill the available time. If you give yourself 2 weeks for something, it magically takes 2 weeks. If you only give yourself 2 days, suddenly it fits into 2 days. And I see that pattern in myself all the time. When I think I have plenty of time to complete a project, I start overcomplicating things. I'll open Notion, start playing features, write out long idea lists, and think about all the cool systems I could add. It feels like progress, but most of the time I'm just avoiding making a real decision. It becomes 20 different ideas instead of one clear direction, 5 half-designed systems instead of single solid core loop, and a lot of I'll fix this later tasks that never actually get a real deadline. But in this jam there was no later. I had 30 hours about in total, and I also need to sleep at some point, so maybe more like 15 to 20 hours. So suddenly the question wasn't what could be cool to make? It was what's the smallest thing I can build that still feels meaningful. The time constraint became a sort of filter. Anything that wasn't important enough just didn't survive that filter. It's about what happens when you're forced to choose. When you can't hide behind more features or more time. From this point on, I try to treat every decision the same way. If it doesn't help me actually finish the game, it's not making it in. It sounds brutal, but with the time I had, it was either brutal or ending the weekend with no game at all. So with that mindset in place, the next step was seeing what the jam itself was going to throw at me. And that started with the theme, which turned out to be timeless. Of course, a theme about time in a jam I barely have any time at all. And the first thing my brain does with that is the same thing everyone's brain does with that type of theme. Clocks, hourglasses, slow motion, time loops. You can almost see the ideas you're going to see in other games. Rewinding time, pausing time, aging mechanics, and time-based puzzles. And I could have gone that direction too. But I didn't want to compete on who used the time mechanic in the smartest way. I was more interested in the other meaning of timeless. The idea of something that actually lasts. Something that stays after you're gone. So I did what I usually do. I opened up Notion, made a nice little planning page, and started writing down ideas I was probably never going to look at again. Something with legacy, and art is always needed. Maybe some sort of memories, things that outlive you. The kind of things we call timeless when we look back at them. And that's where the idea of a painter started creeping in. Someone that's trying to create something that doesn't just exist in the moment, but survives it. To speed things up, I threw some of that into ChatGPT and asked for ideas around timeless and creativity. And pretty quickly one idea stuck out. A game where you paint during different stages of life, and in the end you find out whether you become a timeless painter or just completely forgotten. That was basically the first idea that clicked. And my brain immediately went, okay, that's way too easy. You can't just pick the first idea. You have to struggle way more than that. So instead of going with that idea, I kept brainstorming anyway. What if you're literally racing against a big clock? What if time freezes while you paint? What if there are 10 endings, 3 timelines and branching choices? And then I remembered, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for 3 timelines, 10 endings and a fully simulated art career. So I started cutting my own ideas down before I even opened Unity. No giant story or complex systems, just a very simple structure. As simple as 3 stages of life, with one core interaction, painting. And at the end, the game looks at what you made and quietly decides if you end up timeless or forgotten. Mechanically, it meant I could reuse the same core idea 3 times, in 3 slightly different ways, instead of trying to build 10 disconnected features. So in the end I went with something that honestly felt a bit wrong in me. I just went with the first idea that felt right. A small focused game about painting through life and seeing if you can make any timeless masterpieces. It was simple, too simple. And that raised a pretty big question in my head. Is this actually enough to make a fun game? Or am I just being lazy because I'm short on time? But I didn't really have the luxury to keep doubting it. The clock was already running. So I locked it in and finally opened Unity. There was really only one goal for day one. Get painting on a canvas working as fast as possible. Normally I might spend time on menus, movement, scalable code or a fancy environment. This time I just asked myself, what's the one thing that this game needs to exist? And the answer was simple. You need to be able to put paint on a surface. So I started with the most basic version. Click and drag on the canvas and draw some pixels. Although I had never made a feature like this before, so I did take some help from AI and tutorials, but once I saw that first time appear on the canvas, it was like, okay, this might actually work. After that, I added a really simple color swatch UI. Just some little circles you could click to switch colors. Of course, it didn't work properly at first. Some colors didn't show up the right on the canvas, so I had to fix the way the colors were passed into the brush logic and the color of the canvas. So what you saw in the UI actually matched what ended up on the painting. Then I tried to add a brush size selection with a UI slider. My inspiration was something like Canva and just copy their painting tools. So move the slider, get a bigger or smaller brush. It technically worked, but it felt clunky. It pulled your attention away from the canvas, and to be honest, it didn't feel that immersive. So I scrapped that and switched using the scroll wheel instead. Scroll up, you get a bigger brush, and you scroll down, you get a smaller brush. That is way faster and way more natural. And most importantly, you could stay focused on actually painting. At one point, I even tried adding this little paint ghost, like a preview circle showing you exactly where you'd paint. In my head, it was a nice UX touch. I tried adding it for about 30 minutes and couldn't get it to work. So that idea went straight into the bin after that. But by this point, I had more than just an idea. I had a player, a canvas, and basic controls for switching colors and brush size. It was finally starting to feel like something you could build on. So after a few hours of building, I had the first version of stage 1 working. Really just a simple room with a desk or more like a corner of a room. You could see the canvas, pick a color, change your brush size and paint. Once it was built, I started wiring up a simple stage manager. So the game knew which part of your life you were in and could switch stages once the time ended on that stage. From there, I duplicated the setup into other stages. Same basic room, but with slightly different objects and slightly different color palettes available in each stage. My initial idea was that each of the stages would have different backgrounds and vibes. But time was ticking, so I decided that I needed to simplify further with basic stages. But now, technically, all 3 stages were there. You could move between them, paint in each one, and the game would remember what you created. So after that, I fixed up some paint saving, so your canvases were saved for the actual ending. That was important, because the whole point is to see your work across all stages. The core mechanic worked, the stage switching worked, the saving worked, but when I zoomed out and actually looked at the game, the honest truth was, it felt incredibly bare. The rooms were quiet. There were no sounds or effects, just a plain white canvas in a boring room. The paintings did show up, and each stage had different colors available, but there was no real energy in the scene. This was a moment I realized that the mechanics, they work, but the game really doesn't. At first, even the transitions between stages kind of broke the mood. They technically worked, but the timing, the feedback, the feeling of actually moving through life just wasn't there yet. And with how short the experience was, I started doubting it. Are you just going to go into these 3 rooms, paint for a minute or 2, see a basic ending, and then that's it? Is that really enough to be fun, or did I scope too hard and straight up cut the soul out of the game? But again, the clock didn't care. I couldn't restart and I couldn't come up with a brand new concept. So the question became, how do I make something this simple actually feel satisfying? The first big shift came when I finally got the transitions and lighting to a place that felt right. Instead of hard cuts and awkward jumps, I added smoother transitions between the stages and adjusted the lighting to really sell the mood of each part of your life. It might have been a small difference, but there was a slight change in mood between stages. Once that was in, I could finally run through the full cycle. Early life, later life, and then the final basement stage, which I put together fast, and it felt easier than putting together the second ending for now. And that's where the game actually started to feel like a real experience. The basement ending was a big piece of that. Seeing all your paintings show up together in this quiet, heavy space suddenly gave the whole game a sense of weight. Of course, it didn't work the first time. The wrong paintings were showing up in the wrong places. Some of them weren't saving correctly, and the whole thing looked more confusing than emotional. So I went back into the code, fixed the indexing, cleaned up how each painting was stored per stage, and once that clicked, the ending finally made sense. Then I added music and some simple ending text. That alone made a huge difference and started feeling like a tiny story about your life as a painter. I built out the museum-like final area and made sure you can sit with it just for a second. When I finally hit play and ran through the whole thing in one go, from the first canvas all the way to the ending, it was the first time the game actually felt cohesive. Maybe not full of content, but at least coherent. I threw together a very simple main menu just to wrap it all up, and at that point the core loop was essentially done. Once the main mechanic worked, and the loop from the first stage to the ending actually held together, everything else became optional. And with the time I had left, optional basically meant not happening. So I went back through my original notes and mentally crossed off almost everything. Originally, I wanted 3 to 5 different endings, more nuanced colors and painting settings, and a lot more variety between the stages. In my first scoped down version I set out at the start, that still sounded reasonable. In reality, with just an hour left, it was completely impossible. So the stages stayed fairly similar. Same basic room with slightly different props, different color sets, but nothing widely unique. I had to accept that. Either keep it consistent and working, or break everything chasing more variety I didn't have time to implement. I also had to completely drop sound effects. There were no brush sounds or UI clicks, just a few tracks of music carrying the whole feeling. Would sound effects make it better? Sure. Did I have time to design and implement them properly? Not even close. Same thing with post-processing and visual effects. There was really no time for bloom or literal particles floating in the air. The game looks clean, but simple. In those last hours, if the idea wasn't already in and working, it wasn't going to make it. And weirdly, that made the final stretch less stressful, because there was no maybe features left. Only the game I had time to actually ship. At some point, I just had to stop, because I literally had to leave. There were still things I wanted to add, but the build was stable. The loop worked, and you could play from start to finish without it breaking. The game wasn't perfect, but it worked, and with the time I had, that was enough. So I hit build, uploaded the game to the jam page, wrote a quick description, took some screenshots, and that was it. Simple, short, but surprisingly kind of nice to play. And all of it came together in about 1.5 days. And honestly, I'm glad I walked away with a finished game instead of a half-finished idea. This jam reminded me of something I honestly forget too often. I don't need more time, I just need more focus. In reality, I had maybe 30 hours to work with. And that forced me to do something I'm usually pretty bad at. All the way through this project, there was a better version of the game in my mind. More endings, more stages, better art, sound design, particles. A whole layer of polish that just never made it in. And it made me realize how often I overcomplicate my own projects. I add systems I don't need and hold onto features just because they sound cool, when in reality one solid idea is enough, if you actually complete it. It's the same thing when recording YouTube videos or working on side projects. When I have the time, I expand the work to fill it. But when that time window is brutally small, suddenly it's very clear what matters and what doesn't. And I think there's something really freeing about that. Knowing that you can make something small and letting an idea just be simple. To not use every tool and trick and feature you can think of. Because if the choice is between a polished fantasy in your head and a rough little game that actually exists, I'll take the little game every time. And maybe that's the real lesson here. Constraints, they don't hold you back. They just force you to choose what's worth doing.